Like, I got a new haircut. One of the biggest obstacles for old soul, starseeds, spiritual, empathetic people is actually the fear of visibility. You feel so ready inside. You have learned so much. You've had your imposter syndrome for so long that you've honed in your skill. Some days you wake up, you feel apathetic, and you have this crippling feeling that you will never become anyone of importance. You'll never do or achieve anything worthy. And maybe you're watching this video when you're of a certain ripe age and you feel like, oh, my peers have already succeeded and I'm still not successful. I'm not visible at this age, which means it's too late for me already. No, it's not too late. I have said before that for old souls and starseeds, empaths, it's very important for them to have a variety of different experiences throughout their lives. Successes, failures, trouble with family, trouble here, there, in relationships, all because it enriches their soul. It gives them more food for thought. It gives them more things to battle against or more things to jump off from. So in this video, I will give you the tips and keys to visibility. I think you can take some of my word for it because literally I became visible overnight. I'm still not at the level of visibility that I'm meant to have in this lifetime. I will get there, but I have made pretty big leaps and jumps. I was once just a corporate girly and then had my first awakening through a health crisis, became a spirituality guide, and then I understood that I don't want to just give my knowledge to people and tell people what to do like a guru. It's not my style. It's something that I don't feel good about, like creating a cult. It felt a bit culty. So I took a step back and decided that if I'm so cool, if I'm so good, let's try my spiritual knowledge in something that I have no experience in. I went to Vietnam, signed up for Miss Universe Vietnam, and became a title holder. I became second runner-up of Miss Universe Vietnam. So it's kind of like overnight. I was a nobody. Nobody knew me. In Vietnam, at least, in the pageant scene, nobody knew me. And overnight, I became someone visible. So I want to use my experience of applying the laws of visibility and applying it as someone who is more spiritually inclined so that you can maybe break through your barrier and become visible if it's something that you want to do. So the reason why we don't have something in our lives, it's either because we don't really want it, we don't really anchor in our desire to have it, we don't see ourselves having it, or it's because we know we're supposed to have it, but we have so much resistance for many, many reasons. And I wrote down some reasons for myself why I had these visibility blocks, and maybe you will have them too. So the first block is visibility equals betrayal. Being visible and powerful means that you are betraying your roots, your softness, your people. You're betraying an essence because you're becoming, instead of you're transitioning from underground, like me, an underground YouTuber now with 30 subscribers, to someone with 1 million subscribers, 100,000 subscribers. I feel like I'm betraying my underground essence and betraying the other people, the other YouTubers who are like me, who are authentic, but are still having a small audience. So becoming visible is always a process of betrayal. It's always the process of breaking up with your old identity, with the people you associated with the circles you were in, with the self of you that you thought you were. Like the identity of me right now, if I actually anchor in it, would have been an identity of someone who's only starting out on YouTube. So my fear of visibility and the link between visibility and betrayal came quite early. I learned early on to associate being seen with being attacked, envied, abandoned, or called selfish. So my nervous system, because it had so much to deal with, decided that hiding feels safer than being visible. So, having the reptilian brain, we choose the most familiar path, and we think that is the safest path for us until one point when we break out of our identity and realize that I don't want to live like this anymore. This is not me. It was working up until a point, but from now on, I choose to live differently. Thank you, this protection mechanism, for keeping me safe the way you know how. But now, as I have grown up, as I have matured and gained more strength, I can take care of myself in a different way. I want to try a different way. And that's when you integrate this fear of visibility, the fact that you're linking visibility with betrayal. You can integrate these by having affirmations. You don't owe smallness to anyone. You can be bold, spiritual, and wealthy and loving all at once. You don't have to choose either or. You don't have to let go of your identity of being kind, being nice, just because you have the stereotype that visible people, famous people, they're not kind, they're not nice, they will be meaner in order to survive in the industry. Being powerful doesn't betray your humility, it expresses your devotion. So don't think of it as a rejection of your old persona. Tell your persona that you're integrating new things into your life. The second resistance is that you're still carrying unconscious shame around visibility, popularity, and money. You carry shame around being outstanding, around being different than everyone else. It could be inherited, cultural, or spiritual. So you say that you want wealth, but a part of you fears that having it means that you lose connection, you lose purity and trust, you lose the bond you had with other people. And because you are an empath, a starseed, or an old soul, you have rigid ethics and you have a very rigid moral compass. So you can associate, maybe from your experience or culture, that some people who have money and visibility, they're not that nice, they're not that kind, they're more greedy. And you associate the identity of being visible with the things you don't want yourself to associate with. And you have to break free from that stereotype in order to incorporate and integrate this new identity of being visible. And you can do so by remembering that money is only an amplifier. It reveals the truth about someone. It doesn't corrupt someone. It's only an amplifier of what already is. So if your soul is pure, it will allow you to share the pure light even broader. And money doesn't make you less spiritual. It makes your healing work more sustainable. If you're a healer, you deserve to earn. You deserve to get compensated for your work because what you're doing is important. So if you feel like what you're doing, you should be doing it for free and no one will pay you, then maybe consider fixing your self-worth issues. Look into your self-worth issues. And it helps me to think long term. I always put myself on this crossroad, like imaginary crossroad, that do I want more impact or I want to help people for free? If I want to help people for free, then I can help very little people because I myself will be struggling financially. But if I want more impact, I will know exactly what resources I need for me in order to have that impact. How I need to be taken care of in order to have that impact. And it's not wrong then for me to ask for what I need in order to be my best self in my physical body, in my material plane, in order to take care of other people. So when I put it into this crossroad, into this perspective, it allows me to have a clear black and white choice. I know black and white thinking is not really good, but this in perspective really helps when you're choosing between being invisible and helping very little people or being visible and wealthy and helping more people. So maybe right now you're not feeling comfortable taking money from people for what you do, for helping them. You're not feeling comfortable talking to a lot of people and becoming visible. But if your calling, if your purpose, if what you feel in your heart is large enough that you want to share it with more people, then you could feel that it could be worth it. It could be worth it to sacrifice the momentary discomfort in order to become the person you need to become, to have the kind of impact that you need to have. And it takes us to the third point. Your power doesn't need validation. A lot of people wait until they have enough credentials, they take more courses, they need more certificates to give themselves the allowing to lead, give themselves the allowing to be, because of deep-rooted imposter syndrome and childhood emotional neglect. And you can integrate this by saying that and understanding that you're not here to prove your authority. You're here to embody your authority. You're here to share your lived experience, your resilience, your soul's imprint. All of them are valid experiences. And one of my favorite phrases is, your story is your PhD. It is your credential. So allow yourself to tell your story and allow yourself to express yourself freely and creatively and rip all the awards that come from it. I meant to say rewards, but I guess awards has a special meaning here. The fourth point, a very important point, is belonging is not earned by dimming. A lot of spiritual souls come to earth experiencing a lot of isolation. They're constantly misunderstood, unseen, they're constantly disregarded, and that causes them to gaslight themselves into thinking that they need to become someone else, they need to transform, become more tolerable in order for other people to accept them into their cliques and allow them to have a place within society. And initially, by doing so, we are replenishing our need to be loved, to be known, and to be seen. We're replenishing our need to be connected to other beings. But with time, and right now I'm 30, by 30, I have understood that these connections that we build when we are masking, they are not genuine. And we're so afraid of retributions. We're so afraid of being bullied, of being abused, of having a lot of disapproval. We're afraid of experiencing heartbreak so much that we have decided to voluntarily put on these masks. But the more we hold on to this mask and try to connect with people by dimming our light and being pleasant, the more we feel isolated and alone, the more we feel unworthy and unlovable. So what we need to do is gain the courage to drop the mask and show your true self. And I find that a lot of neurodivergent people, a lot of starseeds, old souls, and spiritual people, they can do this so easily find their tribe by dropping the mask online and allowing the right people to be magnetized to them, to be attracted to them, just by sharing their story and sharing their narrative. The last and final point that I want to make is that expansion and visibility requires systems and supports. That expansion requires integration. A lot of spiritual souls, they have very open upper chakras. So they have a connection to source. They know, they feel, they're empaths, but they have problems with grounding. So they're very good at starting projects, that they're good at initiating and being creative and imagining things, but they have issues grounding them into systems to make them come true in real life. They can start their businesses, their bands, their blogs, but they drop them even before they take roots. And that's a big problem. Imagine that you, as a spiritual soul, you know a different language, a language that is not spoken on this 3D realm. You might be really talented and really capable, but you're transmitting these messages and signals, and you expect everyone else to understand it right away. But the 3D realm doesn't work in that way. This is a material plane. It has heavier, more grounding energies. And because of that, it's like you're emitting a different frequency that just basically scratches the surface of Earth, but it doesn't take root. It doesn't disseminate in the proper way. And that's exactly why a lot of spiritual souls need to master systems and support. They need to create pillars to support their grand vision, or they need to seek associates, friends, and people, teachers, to allow them to help ground their knowledge, not distort it into something that they don't want to see, which often happens when people work with very grounded mentors, but they have nothing in spirituality. They cannot fully understand these creative spiritual souls. They cannot really help them make their visions come true. You need to work with someone who is like a bridge between the heaven and earth. They understand the spiritual. They can have access to the spiritual, but they can code switch to the 3D realm by helping you install the systems and supports and the pillars to help your business, help your project, help your energy thrive and be grounded and be expanded, so that you feel comfortable in every step of your visibility, in every step of your growth. You don't feel shaky, you don't feel intimidated by the attention, the visibility that comes your way, the energetic exchange that comes your way. You're grounded in every step and you're energetically ready to hold everything that comes your way. If you need help with grounding, if you feel that the messages today resonated with you, let me know in the comments what exactly you need help with, and I will help you navigate the next steps of visibility.